Good morning, it's Catherine Best Gordon with my carnivore shopping tips. These are trying times, aren't they? I actually have to go into work today. I work for a large retailer. The work that we do isn't like specifically essential, but we do offer there is food, there's snacks, there's things like olive oil and gourmet foods and things like that. So we do sell food, so I do understand, going in and working this morning. So since I'm going to be out and working anyway, I'll probably go to the grocery store. And I wanted to share some tips if you're a carnivore about the kind of things that you can be shopping for. I know that right now I'm very conscious about the things that we buy, the things that we do. We're all in this together, the entire planet. So what can we do as people who are mainly meat eaters to do our part to make sure that there's enough to go around for everybody? At our local grocery store, we're in California. We haven't had any cases in our county yet, so we're not under a real shelter-in-place order. We're still, keep social distancing, but essential services are still open. Non-essential stores are still open, and of course, grocery stores are open. So, what is at the grocery store? What is low at the grocery store? Right now, eggs are low at the grocery store in terms of if you're a carnivore. Heavy cream. Heavy cream was low at one store, not low at others. Bread is completely out, which I think is kind of interesting if you're following a carnivore lifestyle. It's like, oh, look, there's no bread. But then again, there's also not many eggs. It looks like a lot of people are baking, so they're buying the eggs to bake. At any rate, so what are the things that are available that might be really appropriate for a conscious carnivore to be getting? Number one for me is beef liver. There's plenty of frozen beef liver available in the stores. A lot of people aren't buying this because a lot of people don't like it. This is $3.88, and this is 1.18 pounds. So this is more than a pound. The unit price is $3.29 a pound. It's already frozen. I'm thawing this because I'm going to eat it today anyway. Luckily, my son and I like this, and just put a little butter in the pan or a little bacon grease or lard in the pan if you're really, really strict meat eater, not eating dairy. We eat dairy, and don't overcook it. Salt, pepper. I like a little thyme, a little garlic powder. So once again, I still do use seasonings, but something that's available in the stores. People aren't necessarily buying this. So if you're a carnivore, beef liver. So the frozen section, the frozen meat section, a lot of things were gone. A lot of more inexpensive things were gone. But one thing that there was a whole lot of is, ta-da, Cornish game hens. Plenty of these available, frozen. So you stick them, we have a freezer in the garage, stick them in the freezer. And these were about $3 as well. And this is 16 ounces. And so definitely, this is a meal for me. This will get me satisfied. And that 16 ounces about $3. Something else that is available in the stores and that there's plenty of, sardines. Sardines and olive oil. So certainly if you go to that section, you may see a lot of things that are getting passed over by other people. It's in olive oil, but I'm not going to quibble over the olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and get sardines. So there's three things: beef liver, sardines, and Cornish game hens. A lot of those are available. I do want to talk about a mistake I made. It was St. Patrick's Day, and I did make corned beef and cabbage with mustard for my family, and I had some myself, and that definitely was a mistake. I thought that I could get away with it. I ended up, my hands were swollen, my lips were swollen, my heart was pounding, and I got extraordinarily depressed yesterday. And this is certainly Michaela Peterson has talked about this, Michael Anthony has talked about this direct connection between kind of cheating on carnivore and getting these depressive episodes. It was really, really terrible. I was in the guest room, in the bed, the dogs were in there with me, my son was checking on me going, Mom, what did you do? And the great thing about my son and my husband, we have some acreage and they're clearing acreage. We're definitely going to be raising chickens. We're going to be looking at the possibility of having goats. So they're getting out there in the fresh air and clearing, and I'm in there hibernating in the guest room. So something in that corned beef and cabbage, probably something in the process, in the packet for tenderizing that corned beef, really had a reaction to. So I'm definitely going to be keeping it, be very careful about what I'm eating. Now, so there's some tips. I would say when you go into the grocery store, look for things that other people aren't buying, your organ meats, your unusual fish, other frozen foods, and possibly buy those and go ahead and leave the other stuff for people who are not following this lifestyle yet. One other thing, I am going to be going back to the store because, like I said, I do have to go out to work today. I'm going to be out, going to be in that shopping center, and I am going to go back in. One of the things that I did notice is that some of the more expensive cuts were still available. Filet mignon, ribeye, things like that. They have not been discounted yet, but there are a lot of other things. We're not going to be traveling much. We're going to be saving money. We're certainly not going out to eat, so that's going to be saving money. So I'm thinking of going ahead and buying some of the more expensive cuts of meat and going ahead and leaving the ground beef and things like that for other folks. I know maybe that sounds a little bit odd, but we are in a position where we can afford to spend a little bit more on food, especially because it looks like we're not going to be spending money on some other things, shifting that to food. So going ahead and buying some of the more expensive cuts of meat to leave the less expensive for the people who are struggling. I am still working. My husband teaches. They've closed the schools. They have not told him yet what they're going to do. There were a couple of meetings that they were supposed to have, talk about what's going on, but those meetings had to be canceled because of snow and all these other things. So obviously we're going to be careful, but for now, I think it's the right thing. Most important thing is to stay healthy, so I'm definitely keeping it carnivore. And then I want to leave you with a couple of things, a couple of books that I'm getting into. Cultural Insurrection, talking about art and meat and wine. Interesting stuff going forward as we think about what we're going to do when we come out of this. I am thinking that I've given up my personal training certification. I'm 55. I don't know that I'm really going to start an acting career as a 55-year-old woman. I'm really thinking of going into meat production. We do have some in the county and really looking at going into that as a career. Not by bread alone. If you're going carnivore and you want to understand a long-term experiment in eating meat only, great book for you to be reading. Fascinating. And even though it was written in like the 30s, it still, makes sense today. And then this one, really important, The Ethical Meat Handbook, Complete Home Butchery, Charcuterie and Cooking for the Conscious Omnivore by Meredith Lee. I made a huge mistake yesterday. I ruined a big piece of meat. It was like a London broil, and it just, it was so tough. I think I'm gonna have to end up feeding it to the dogs because I just wrecked it. I need to get a better idea on how to cook tough cuts of meat. Please, if you buy a piece of meat, make sure you know how to cook it. Don't ruin it like I did and have to feed it to the pets, even though the pets are completely happy to have it. And then, of course, I've got Sean Baker's Carnivore Diet book. I have not had a time to read it yet. I'm working my way through some other books, but I'm going to get on that really soon. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy. I hope that you have some success at the grocery store, and believe me, we are looking at raising chickens and looking at the possibility of goats and doing our part to advance this idea that, as I like to say, now that I eat mostly meat, I eat less of everything, including meat. Thanks for watching. Take good care, everybody, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.